Alright, let's do this one last time. My name is Kirk Mihalakos, and I'm a narrative and commercial filmmaker. What does that mean? Well, I make a lot of short films, documentaries,
I would hope for somebody to love it as much as we do.
and all kinds of other stuff. And whenever I'm making all of that stuff, I'm often hunkered down at my home office setup. Now, I've always been obsessed with building the dream setup ever since I was a kid 12 or so years ago, right up until today, where it definitely seems that you guys like seeing what's happening in my home office. But in between then, I've undoubtedly watched more desk setup tours for inspiration than I probably should have. So today's the day I can finally pump the brakes on that and show you my new desk and the home office it's in for 2025. Starting off with the centerpiece of this setup, and that's this sit-stand desk from Oakywood. Now, I'm quite familiar with Oakywood, having used their products on previous setups before, most notably their desk shelf, but this time I've had the chance to try out their new Standing Desk Pro. What's quite special about Oakywood is that through their site, you can customize every aspect of the desk to your liking, including the length, width, types of timbers and legs that you want used, and even the placement and selection of grommets and cable access throughout the tabletop. The 3D configurator is super snappy and so easy to use. You can really spend ages tinkering and making the perfect desk of your choice. For my build, I went with an all black setup with a few great accessory accents. The desk size I configured was a 160cm long by 70cm deep tabletop with a round steep shape with black sloped legs. The desk arrived in about 7 weeks or so, and it was absolutely well worth the wait. It does come flat packed, but out of all the desks I've built in the past, it is definitely the most simplest to assemble, and it's super satisfying to put together. The instructions are super clear, and the motors and legs from Lanac line up perfectly with all of the pre-drilled holes on the underside of the desk. The desk is incredibly sturdy, built from insanely high quality components, and as a result, it's quite heavy, so it does give me a lot of confidence in terms of its rigidity and sturdiness, and even at max height, it doesn't wobble at all. And in saying all of that, once I've popped the desk in place, it is undoubtedly the best designed desk I've ever owned, both from how it looks, but also how it feels in the overall construction. The timber itself is thick, and it's not veneer wood, it's solid timber, and it looks absolutely phenomenal. Even though I opted for an all black model, you can see all the fine detailed wood grains and crevices throughout the desk. The tabletop is also connected to 2 legs where the motors are built inside of. They rise and fall quite rapidly, so I change seated and standing positions really quickly and easily throughout the day. They're connected to a super simple yet intuitive control unit which I've placed on the right hand side. You lift the little control tab up to move the desk upwards and push it down to bring the desk down. It connects to an app called Desk Connect via Bluetooth, where you can use the app to also control the desk but also set custom presets. And once you've done that, what's really cool is that on the desk tab itself, you can pull up the module twice to bring the desk up to the highest preset height that you've selected, and then you can double press down to bring the desk back down to your presetted seating positions. I find this design so cool as it minimizes clutter on the control panel, so there's not a big long menu of different numbered selections on there, and that's all replaced with this super intuitive interaction with the desk. Now, taking a look at the underside of the desk itself is what I like to call the best cable management solution I've ever seen in a desk. For me, the underside of the desk needs to look just as clean as what's on top of the desk, and with the help of the large cable management tray that I have underneath, it's so easy for me to hide the power boards in the tray itself whilst keeping access super easy. And once it is all closed up, it gives the appearance that the desk is one singular appliance on its own, with the power and Ethernet cables being the only cables running down this cable tube I put together into a blue lounge cable box onto the floor. Overall, I couldn't be happier with the desk itself, and I have to say, it's totally my favorite desk I've used to date, and I can see it lasting for many, many years to come. So big thanks again to Oakywood for sending it out. So taking a look on top of the desk now, or at least where all the magic happens, my setup is powered by my 14-inch MacBook Pro. Specifically, it's my trusty M1 Max model. It still purrs along, but definitely shows a bit of age when I have some more involved color grading projects. It sits inside of Oakywood's laptop stand, which pairs perfectly on top of their desk shelf. Connected via a Thunderbolt 4 cable, I have the MacBook running to a CalDigit Thunderbolt 4 dock, which I use for convenient port access, Ethernet, and connecting external drives to the back. Also connected to the dock, I use my main display, which is the no need for introduction action Apple Studio display, I opted for the height adjustable stand model with the normal glass. I love the design of it and the convenience of having built-in speakers, brightness control, webcam and mics too. When I do raise the desk up to the standing position, it's quite helpful to be able to just adjust the screen ever so slightly to meet my eye line. I've had it for almost 2 years now and I made a full review on the display if you did want to go check that out. I'll have a link on screen or in the description alongside all the links for the items shown here in my desk setup. As I mentioned, on top of the desk I have my Oakywood desk shelf made in the same timber and color as the desk itself. Alongside, it's designed with some metal leg frames. Also sitting on top of the shelf, I have this 5-tiered pen tray, which I keep a bunch of my Faber-Castell pencils on top of, plus this neat USB-C powered table lamp from Design Stuff, which has 3 modes of brightness and is perfect to move around for a bit of ambient light. Some new additions too are these desk drawers that fit perfectly under the desk shelf. These are part of Oakywood's new modular desk shelf collection range that help me add more storage and quick and easy organization to the top of my desk, something that I've never had before. On the left, I have a large modular drawer in black that I use to store my notebook, speaker remotes and other items. On the right, I have a small modular drawer that is home to some pencils and some of the grey cork and felt coasters from Oakywood too, which are of course very essential for those many beverages I consume throughout the day. The last item underneath the shelf I have is my Orbit Key Nest, which houses all of my EDC essentials, including my keys, wallets, AirPods, which all have their own places using customizable dividers that are built right in. Oh, and behind that, I will mention that my desk has a grommet that's built into the desk that's detachable via magnets, which I use to feed cables down into the cable management tray. On the end of the desk, I have my Cantu YU4 speakers, which sit on top of their 6-inch speaker stands. I love these speakers. I use them to monitor audio when video editing and also listen to music on them. I don't have the sub, but it does well without, and they connect via the aux straight to the CalDigit dock, meaning I can control the audio incrementally straight from the keyboard. And lastly, on top of the desk, I have a large grey felt and cork desk mat, also from Oakywood, which pairs perfectly with their coasters of the same color. And of course, my main peripherals on the desk mat I use are Apple's keyboard with numeric keypad, the trackpad on the left hand side, alongside my MX Master 3S mouse in space grey. And that's pretty much my desk setup right there. It's all powered via one cable to the wall, which makes it really clean. And I gotta be honest, it makes me realize how much stuff goes into a seemingly minimal setup. So before I end this tour out, and if you've got a couple more minutes, I thought I might quickly show you around the rest of the office while you're still here. To the right of my desk, I've got my 8-tiered story bookcase. I like to keep a lot of my favorite little trinkets here and some reading material too. Just a few items to display the things I like. On the wall behind that, I've got a couple of pieces from Tim Doyle, a Blade Runner 2049 piece, which was a late addition to the space that I'm absolutely in love with and bought immediately when I saw it in the store. And on the wall to the right of that, I have his Concerning Hobbits Glow Edition print, both of which remind me of hand-drawn Japanese art which pair perfectly in blue together. Directly above the desk, I've got 2 shelves that are from IKEA, the Moslanders to be precise, if I've got that right. And of course, I can't forget the desk chair, which I've used for many years from Secret Lab. It was a hard pill to swallow price-wise at the time, but my back has thanked me for it ever since for investing in a solid chair. Now, swinging around to the other side of the office is where a lot more of the storage is, but the eye catchers are these 3 prints from Sandgrain Studio. These are poster-sized, mid-century inspired artwork from 3 of my favorite films, being Dune Part 2, Guardians of the Galaxy, and of course Oppenheimer. I think they just look so cool and they come up especially great whenever I'm on calls. And of course, I gotta keep track of the time on my long editing sessions in here, which is why next to those I have a nice Braun clock that's up here on the wall. Under those posters, I have this long 1.8 meter buffet unit from a local brand called L3 Home. On top of the unit, on the left hand side, I have my Synology NAS. It's a 4-bay unit called the DS418 with 8TB drives running in RAID 5. It means I have 24 terabytes of usable storage and 1 spare drive for redundancy. And over on the right hand side of the unit, I've got a couple little trinkets here too, including my Mandalorian and Grogu figures from Swarovski, shout out to my brother for those, some reading material, all housed in Oakywood's large catch-all tray which blends perfectly with the black buffet unit and the rest of the pieces in the office. Sitting next to all of those is another piece from IKEA, a table lamp called the Mark Frost lamp with the Molnart globe. And speaking of a bit more lighting around the office too, I've got a few more pieces to show, including the good old Hector lamp powered by Philips Hue. I love this guy because it looks like a Pixar lamp even though it's super common now. It lights up the area where my replica Eames chair is situated, plus the IKEA Pilscott lamp, which I think looks something straight out of a sci-fi movie like Dune or something like that. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully you've enjoyed taking a look at my desk setup. I'll leave links to every single product I've shown or mentioned in the description below. If you do have any questions about it, please don't hesitate to drop a comment just below that subscribe button. Have a wonderful day, stay safe, and of course, do take care.